She's feeling it long before she says anything. Folks, most men miss lust because they're waiting for words that never come. You're standing there talking, maybe laughing, and something feels charged. Her eyes linger. Her body stays close. Then nothing happens, and later you tell yourself she was just being friendly. My friend, she wasn't. Women rarely announce desire out loud, especially with men they respect. Lust shows up quietly through the body, through movement, through subtle shifts most men were never taught to notice. And because you don't recognize those signals, you either hesitate too long or you overstep at the wrong moment. This is where frustration comes from. You sense attraction, but you can't read it clearly. You rely on words while she's communicating on a completely different channel. And the moment passes without drama, without rejection, just a quiet fade that leaves you confused. I'm not here to hype you up or feed you fantasies. I'm here to help you see clearly. In this video, you'll learn how women show lust without saying a word, why the body always tells the truth before the mouth does, and how awareness, not action, is what separates men who miss signals from men who feel them instantly. This isn't about chasing, it's about noticing. And once you notice, everything changes. Let's get into it. Number 1. Lust speaks without words. Folks, here's the first truth most men never learn. Lust does not start in language, it starts in the body. Long before a woman says anything bold or direct, her body has already made a decision. And if you're waiting for verbal confirmation, you're already late. Most men are trained to listen, not observe. You're taught to wait for clear words, obvious flirting, or explicit interest. But women, especially emotionally intelligent women, communicate desire differently. Lust shows up in how she positions herself, how long she stays, how her body responds when you speak. Words come last, if they come at all. Let's ground this in something real. Michael is 56, calm, well-dressed and socially comfortable. He meets Lauren, 44, confident and quietly feminine, at a friend's private dinner in Seattle. The conversation is light, nothing overt. But Lauren keeps angling her body toward Michael, even when others speak. Her feet point at him. She doesn't check her phone. When he talks, her breathing slows. Michael almost misses it. Almost. Here's what's really happening. Lauren's body is signaling safety and interest. She's not trying to seduce. She's allowing proximity. That allowance is lust in its early form. Women don't push lust forward verbally because words create risk. Bodies don't. Most men misread this as politeness. They tell themselves not to assume, so they stay passive. Or worse, they suddenly escalate verbally and break the moment. Both reactions kill the signal. Michael does something different. He doesn't rush. He doesn't act on impulse. He simply stays present. He mirrors her calm. He maintains steady eye contact, not intense, not shy. The energy holds. This is where Stoic awareness matters. Lust is not something to chase. It's something to notice. When you notice without reacting, the signal grows stronger. Lauren feels this immediately. His calm tells her she's safe. Safe enough to stay, safe enough to let desire deepen. Her body leans in slightly when he pauses. That's not accidental, that's permission. Most men miss lust because they think it has to look sexual. It doesn't. It looks like comfort, stillness, reduced distance. When a woman's body relaxes around you, lust is already present. Michael doesn't touch her. He doesn't flirt aggressively. He allows the moment to breathe. That restraint is what keeps the signal alive. Lust dies when a man tries to force it into words too soon. As men get older, this skill becomes critical. Women stop broadcasting desire. They filter. They observe. They let their bodies speak first. If you can't read that language, you'll keep thinking attraction fades mysteriously. It doesn't fade. It goes unnoticed. So remember this, my friend. Lust speaks quietly. Through posture, through proximity, through presence. Your job is not to act fast. Your job is to see clearly. If you've ever felt a moment like this but couldn't explain it, write this in the comments. I've felt that. Keep watching because the next signal reveals why her body tells the truth, even when her words stay polite. Number 2. Her body tells the truth. Folks, here is a reality most men struggle to accept. Words are optional. The body is not. A woman can be polite, reserved, even vague with her language, but her body will always tell the truth about what she feels. Desire leaks through posture, movement, and rhythm long before it ever becomes verbal. Most men listen too hard and watch too little. They hang on every sentence, every polite response, trying to decode meaning from words. Meanwhile, the real information is happening right in front of them. Bodies do not negotiate, they react, and reactions are honest. Stoic philosophy understood this long before modern psychology. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the body obeys the soul. When desire is present, the body follows instinctively. You cannot fake ease. You cannot fake orientation. You cannot fake proximity for long. The body aligns with what the mind wants, even when words try to keep things safe. This is why body language matters more than compliments or conversation flow. When a woman is drawn to you, her body softens, movements slow, distance closes naturally. None of this is conscious. That is what makes it reliable. Most men sabotage this by trying to force clarity with words. They ask direct questions too early. They escalate verbally before the body has finished speaking. That breaks the signal. It pulls the interaction out of instinct and into caution. Her body tells the truth because it reacts faster than thought. Leaning in is faster than choosing words. Staying close is faster than deciding what to say. Turning toward you happens before intention forms. These signals show where desire is moving, not where it has already arrived. Epictetus taught that we should concern ourselves with what is within our control. Your control here is awareness, not action. You do not need to respond immediately. You need to notice. The man who observes without rushing holds the advantage. Another reason the body tells the truth is safety. Women protect themselves socially. Words can be misinterpreted. Bodies communicate without commitment. When a woman's body remains open around you, she is signaling comfort. Comfort is the foundation of lust. Without comfort, desire cannot stay present. Many men think lust looks intense. It often looks calm, relaxed shoulders, open stance, unbroken attention, stillness. When the body is at ease, desire has room to exist. Seneca warned that haste reveals weakness. Rushing to interpret or respond reveals insecurity. When you slow down, your presence becomes grounded. Grounded presence allows the body signals to continue rather than retreat. This is why Stoic awareness is so effective here. You are not scanning for tricks. You are simply paying attention. Attention without agenda changes how interactions feel. When you are not trying to get somewhere, her body does not feel rushed either. Remember this, my friend. Words can lie. Bodies rarely do. When you learn to trust what you see rather than what you hope to hear, attraction stops feeling confusing. If this clicked for you, write this in the comments. I notice the body. Stay tuned because the next signal shows how eye contact alone can carry more lust than 100 words ever could. Number 3. Eye contact that burns. Folks, eye contact is one of the clearest places lust shows itself without permission from words. When desire is present, the eyes behave differently. They linger, they return, they soften, then lock in again. Most men either stare too hard or look away too fast, and both reactions break the signal. Let's be honest here. Eye contact that burns is not aggressive. It is not intense staring. It is calm, steady attention that does not rush to escape. When a woman holds your gaze a second longer than necessary, especially after you finish speaking. Something is happening beneath the surface. Here is a real situation. Daniel is 58, relaxed, observant, and comfortable in social settings. He meets Melissa, 46, confident and composed at a small gallery opening in Santa Monica. They talk casually. Nothing sexual is said. But when Daniel pauses mid-sentence, Melissa does not look away. Her eyes stay with him. She smiles slightly, then blinks slowly. That moment matters. Most men miss it. They look down. They laugh nervously. They keep talking to fill the space. Daniel does not. He holds the silence. He keeps his posture open. He meets her gaze without tension. The air thickens quietly. Here is what is happening. Eye contact that burns is about mutual permission. Her eyes are asking, can you stay here with me without rushing? Can you handle this attention without flinching? That test is about emotional control, not confidence theater. Melissa's eyes soften when Daniel does not break the moment. She tilts her head slightly. Her breathing slows. This is not coincidence. The body follows attention. The eyes lead the body. Most men fail this because they treat eye contact as a challenge. They try to dominate or withdraw. Lust does not live in dominance or avoidance. It lives in steadiness. Daniel does something subtle. He lets the moment end naturally. He looks away calmly after a beat, not abruptly. That choice tells Melissa he is not trapped by the moment. He is choosing it. Choice feels safe. Safety allows lust to deepen. Eye contact becomes sexual when it is paired with stillness, no rushing, no checking reactions, just presence. When a woman's eyes keep returning to yours, even when others are speaking, desire is already active. Melissa notices that Daniel does not scan the room. He does not seek validation. His attention feels selective. That selectivity sharpens her interest. Lust grows when attention feels chosen, not scattered. Most men think lust must look heated. In reality, it often looks quiet. Calm gaze, unbroken attention, soft expression. When you can hold eye contact without tightening your body, you communicate self-command. Daniel does not escalate verbally. He does not flirt overtly. He allows the eye contact to do the work. That restraint keeps the signal alive. So remember this, my friend. When her eyes hold yours longer than the situation requires, lust is already speaking. Your job is not to intensify it. Your job is to remain steady enough not to shut it down. If you have ever felt this moment and didn't know what it meant, write this in the comments. I've seen that. Stay tuned, because the next signal shows how distance itself can quietly invite desire closer. Number 4. Distance that invites desire. Folks, here is a counterintuitive truth most men never grasp. Desire does not grow from closeness alone. It grows from space that feels intentional. When distance is chosen rather than forced, it creates tension. And tension is where lust quietly forms. Most men think attraction requires leaning in, filling silence, closing gaps. They believe distance equals disinterest. That belief causes them to overstep, hover, or rush moments that were actually working in their favor. Women sense this immediately. When distance disappears too fast, desire has nowhere to breathe. Stoic philosophy understood the power of restraint. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The true power is the ability to hold oneself steady when impulse demands movement." Distance that invites desire comes from self-command, not strategy. Here is what happens psychologically. When a woman feels drawn to you, she becomes aware of space. How close you are, how available you feel, how much access she has. If you give everything at once, curiosity collapses. If you hold space calmly, curiosity sharpens. Distance does not mean withdrawal. It means you are not trying to reduce uncertainty too quickly. You allow moments to remain unfinished. Unfinished moments pull attention back. Most men fail here because they confuse distance with coldness. Coldness feels rejecting. Intentional distance feels grounded. The difference is emotional tone. A man who is present but not pressing creates an invisible edge that draws interest forward. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when we stop being enslaved by outcomes. When you are not chasing a reaction, your presence becomes relaxed. That relaxation signals confidence. Confidence makes distance feel safe rather than threatening. This is especially powerful with body language. When you do not rush to close physical gaps, when you let proximity evolve, naturally, her body begins to do the work. She leans, she adjusts, she closes space on her terms. That choice deepens desire because it feels voluntary. Many men sabotage this by stepping in the moment they sense attraction. They move closer, they speak faster, they try to lock it in. That urgency communicates fear of loss. Fear kills tension. Distance that invites desire also shows emotional discipline. It tells her you can tolerate attraction without needing to resolve it immediately. That ability is rare, and rarity amplifies interest. Seneca warned that impatience is the enemy of wisdom. In attraction, impatience is the enemy of desire. When you slow down, moments stretch. When moments stretch, awareness increases. Awareness is what allows lust to grow quietly instead of burning out fast. This principle applies to conversation as well. You do not answer every pause. You let silence exist. You do not chase reassurance. You trust the moment. Trust creates safety. Safety allows desire to stay present. Distance becomes magnetic when it feels chosen, not defensive. You are not protecting yourself. You are simply not forcing progression. That distinction is everything. If you want to develop this level of control consistently, consider joining the channel membership. Inside, we break down emotional timing, restraint, and stoic presence so you can handle attraction without rushing or retreating when it matters most. So remember this, my friend. Distance does not weaken desire. Poorly handled closeness does. When you allow space with calm intent, attraction leans toward you naturally. If this changed how you see attraction, write this in the comments. I let space work. Stick with me, because the next signal reveals how touch communicates lust long before intention becomes conscious. Number 5. Touch that is not accidental. Folks, when lust is present, touch appears before intention is admitted. Not dramatic touch, not sexual touch. Small, brief, perfectly timed contact that seems harmless on the surface. This is one of the strongest signals women give without saying a word, and most men either miss it or ruin it by reacting wrong. Let's be clear. Accidental touch is rarely accidental when desire is active. A hand brushes your arm and stays a half-second longer than needed. Fingers rest lightly when there was space to pull away. Contact happens where there was no practical reason for it. These moments are invitations, not mistakes. Here is a real situation. Andrew is 62, calm, attentive, and socially comfortable. He meets Claire, 48, confident and composed at a small dinner party in Chicago. They sit across from each other at first. Conversation flows easily. Later, when they stand near the kitchen counter, Claire laughs at something Andrew says and lightly touches his forearm. She does not apologize. She does not pull away fast. That moment matters. Most men respond poorly here. They flinch, they pull back, or they immediately touch back harder, longer, trying to escalate. Both responses kill the signal. Pulling away communicates discomfort. Escalating communicates hunger. Andrew does neither. He stays relaxed. He does not freeze. He does not grab. He simply allows the contact to exist. His body remains steady. His expression does not change. The moment passes naturally. Claire notices this instantly. Her body relaxes further. She stays close instead of creating distance. That is how touch works when it is welcomed, but not exploited. Touch that is not accidental is a test of self-control. She is checking if you can handle physical closeness without losing composure. Can you stay grounded when desire moves closer, or do you panic? Andrew's restraint communicates maturity. Claire feels safe because he does not rush to claim the moment. Safety allows desire to deepen rather than retreat. Most men think touch means green light. It does not. It means awareness required. The correct response is presence, not action. When you remain calm, you allow her to decide what happens next. Later that evening, Claire touches Andrew again while speaking. This time, her hand stays longer. The pattern is forming. Touch becomes intentional through repetition, not force. Many men never experience this progression because they interrupt it. They joke nervously. They step back. Or they push forward too fast. Lust thrives in continuity. It dies in disruption. Andrew understands something important. Touch is communication. He listens with his body instead of reacting with his ego. That makes Claire feel understood without being exposed. As men age, this becomes crucial. Women do not test with words alone. They test with proximity and touch. If you mishandle these moments, attraction fades quietly. So remember this, my friend. When her touch lingers, it is not an accident. It is a question. Can you stay steady? If you have felt this moment before, write this in the comments. I noticed the touch. Let's keep going because the next signal shows how her voice changes when lust is already present. Number 6. When her voice changes. Folks, the voice never lies. A woman can keep her words polite, measured, even distant, but when lust enters the picture, her voice changes before her behavior does. Tone shifts, rhythm slows, pitch softens or drops. These are not conscious choices. They are physiological responses to attraction. Most men are trained to focus on what is being said, not how it is being said. That is why they miss this signal entirely. They hear polite sentences and assume neutrality. Meanwhile, the voice is already revealing desire. Here is what happens beneath the surface. When a woman feels drawn to you, her nervous system moves from guarded to receptive. That shift affects breathing, and breathing affects voice. Words start to flow slower. Pauses appear. The voice becomes more intimate without becoming explicit. Stoic thinkers understood that the body expresses what the mind tries to contain. Marcus Aurelius wrote that nothing is more revealing than what escapes without effort. A changed voice escapes effort. It happens before intention catches up. Men often misinterpret this moment. Some mistake it for friendliness. Others mistake it for invitation and rush in verbally. Both responses break the signal. The correct response is attunement. You acknowledge the shift internally, but you do not force the moment forward. When her voice lowers slightly, when her words stretch, when she seems to savor the conversation rather than move it along, attraction is already active. She is not trying to convince you. She is letting you feel it. This is why silence becomes powerful here. When you respond calmly and allow space between words, her voice often follows your pace. That synchronization deepens connection. It creates a private rhythm inside a public interaction. Epictetus taught that wisdom begins with listening, not listening to words alone, but to what is underneath them. When you listen to tone instead of content, you start to hear what most men miss. Another mistake men make is changing their own voice too quickly. They drop their tone dramatically or try to sound seductive. That feels forced. Forced tone creates imbalance. Balance is what sustains tension. The most grounded response is consistency. Keep your voice steady, calm, unhurried. Let her voice move toward you rather than chasing hers. When you remain regulated, her nervous system feels safe staying open. Voice is also connected to vulnerability. When a woman's voice softens, She is allowing emotional exposure without naming it. If you react with jokes or abrupt topic changes, she pulls back. Not because she is rejected, but because the container was not held. Seneca warned that excess reveals lack of control. Overreacting to vocal shifts reveals hunger. Hunger collapses tension. Restraint keeps it alive. This signal matters because it often comes before touch or proximity. The voice is the bridge. It is the moment where desire is present but not yet visible. If you rush here, you miss everything that follows. Remember this, my friend. When her voice changes, she is not asking you to do something. She is letting you feel something. Your job is to stay present enough to let it unfold. If you have noticed this before but did not understand it, write this in the comments. I hear it now. You don't want to miss this, because the next signal reveals how her own hands betray desire before she ever realizes it herself. Number 7. Self-touch reveals arousal. Folks, when lust is present, the body looks for an outlet. Before a woman moves closer to you, before she touches you, her hands often move toward herself. Self-touch is one of the clearest, least understood signals of arousal, and it happens almost entirely outside conscious control. Most men misread this signal because they over-sexualize it or ignore it completely. They assume it means nothing, or they assume it means everything. Both reactions miss the truth. Self-touch is not an invitation to act. It is a sign that desire is active and regulating itself. Here is a real example. Kevin is 60, observant, calm, and emotionally grounded. He meets Allison, 47, confident and softly expressive, at a quiet wine bar in Denver. The conversation flows. There is eye contact. Distance has already closed naturally. As Kevin speaks, Allison lightly touches her neck, then smooths her hair back behind her ear. She does not look away. She keeps listening. That movement matters. Self-touch appears when the nervous system is stimulated. It helps regulate sensation. Touching the neck, collarbone, lips, hair, or forearm releases tension created by attraction. It is the body saying something is happening here. Most men react wrong in this moment. They suddenly escalate verbally. They stare, or they pull back out of discomfort. Kevin does none of that. He notices, but he does not react. His voice stays steady. His posture remains relaxed. Allison feels this immediately. Her body stays open instead of retreating. She touches her neck again later, slower this time. The signal is repeating, not escalating, because the environment feels safe. Self-touch becomes revealing when it appears alongside other signals. Eye contact holds. Proximity remains close. The conversation slows. This is what matters. Signals work in clusters, not isolation. Kevin understands that self-touch is not for him. It is for her. She is managing sensation. When he does not intrude on that process, attraction deepens quietly. Most men interrupt this by making it about themselves. They comment on it, they joke, or they reach out too soon. That pulls her out of her body and into her head. Desire retreats when awareness becomes self-conscious. Later in the evening, Allison lightly presses her fingers together while listening. Her breathing is slower. Her attention is undivided. Kevin remains present without pressing forward. That restraint is what keeps the moment alive. As men age, this signal becomes more important. Women become subtler. They rely more on embodied cues and less on overt behavior. If you cannot read self-touch, you will think attraction disappears when it is actually building. Self-touch is a question, not a command. It asks, can you stay calm while desire moves through the room? Can you hold presence without grabbing? Kevin passes because he does not act hungry. He does not need to convert the moment. He trusts it. So remember this, my friend. When her hands move toward herself while staying engaged with you, arousal is already present. Your job is not to react. Your job is to remain steady. If you have ever noticed this but did not understand it, write this in the comments. I see the signal. Let's keep going because the next sign reveals how mirroring quietly confirms attraction without a single word spoken. Number 8. Mirroring means attraction. Folks, mirroring is one of the most honest signals of attraction because it happens without effort. When a woman is drawn to you, her body begins to align with yours. Posture matches posture. Tempo matches tempo. Even breathing starts to synchronize. This is not strategy. This is the nervous system seeking harmony. Most men overlook mirroring because it feels ordinary. It looks subtle. But subtle is where truth lives. When interest is present, the body wants resonance. It wants to feel in sync, and mirroring is how that sync reveals itself. Here is the key principle. People mirror what they feel connected to. When attraction is active, alignment happens naturally. She leans when you lean. She slows when you slow. She shifts her stance to face you when you settle into stillness. None of this is conscious. That is why it matters. Stoic philosophy understood this long before modern psychology named it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what is in harmony with nature is not forced. Mirroring is harmony. When attraction is real, bodies cooperate without instruction. Most men fail to notice mirroring because they are too busy performing. They talk too much. They move too fast. They adjust constantly. When you are scattered, there is nothing steady to mirror. When you are grounded, alignment appears. Mirroring is especially powerful because it confirms safety. When a woman mirrors you, her nervous system is signaling comfort. Comfort does not kill desire. Comfort allows desire to stay present without activating defense. That is why mirroring often appears right before deeper attraction forms. Another reason mirroring matters is timing. It usually happens after initial interest, but before overt escalation. It is the bridge. If you rush past it, you collapse the bridge. If you notice it and stay steady, the connection deepens on its own. Epictetus taught that we should make the best use of what is in our control. What you control here is your pace. When you slow your movements, her mirroring becomes clearer. When you sit back calmly, watch what happens. When you pause before speaking, notice how she pauses too. Men often break mirroring by reacting to it. They lean in suddenly. They escalate verbally. They change their tone. That disruption pulls her out of alignment and back into awareness. Awareness is where desire becomes cautious. The correct response to mirroring is consistency. Do not change what you are doing. Let the alignment continue. When you remain predictable and composed, mirroring intensifies rather than disappears. Mirroring also shows selectivity. She is not aligning with everyone. She is aligning with you. That selectivity carries sexual energy because it narrows focus. Focus is where desire concentrates. Seneca warned that excess reveals weakness. Excess movement, excess talking, excess reaction. All of it disrupts harmony. When you remove excess, mirroring has space to grow. This signal becomes more important with age. Words become polite. Behavior becomes refined. Bodies still tell the truth. When mirroring appears, attraction is already active, even if nothing explicit has been said. Remember this, my friend. When her movements begin to echo, yours connection is already happening. Your job is not to advance it. Your job is not to test it. Your job is to stay grounded enough, not to break it. If this opened your eyes, write this in the comments. I notice alignment. Stay tuned, because the next signal reveals how proximity itself becomes intentional when lust is present. Number 9. She moves into your space. Folks, when a woman moves into your space, lust has already crossed a line inside her body. This is not accidental. Humans guard personal space instinctively. When that boundary softens, desire is active. and testing whether it feels safe to come closer. Most men misread this signal because it feels ordinary. She steps closer while talking. She stays near instead of drifting away. She chooses the seat beside you when others are available. These movements are quiet, but they are deliberate. Space is never neutral. Let's put this into a real moment. Brian is 57, relaxed, attentive and grounded. He meets Sophia, 45, confident and warm at a casual networking event in San Diego. At first they talk standing a few feet apart. As the conversation settles, Sophia steps closer. Not abruptly, just enough that Brian can feel the shift. Brian notices, but he does not react. He does not step back. He does not lean in aggressively. He stays where he is, shoulders relaxed, feet planted. The space holds. Sophia stays there. That is the test. When a woman moves into your space, she is checking two things at once. Do you feel safe to be near? And do you feel steady enough not to exploit the moment? Most men fail one side or the other. Some men retreat. They feel the closeness and instinctively step back, creating distance. That communicates discomfort. Others rush forward, closing the gap further, trying to capitalize. That communicates hunger. Both responses break the signal. Brian does neither. He allows the proximity to exist without comment. His voice stays calm. His posture remains open. He does not fill the moment with extra words. That restraint tells Sophia she made the right move. Proximity is powerful because it increases sensory awareness. Breathing is noticed. Scent is noticed. Subtle movements are felt. This is why women do not move closer unless desire is present. The body would not allow it otherwise. Sophia notices that Brian does not scan the room or shift his weight nervously. His attention feels settled. That settled attention makes closeness feel natural instead of risky. She leans slightly closer while listening. The signal repeats. Most men interrupt this progression by trying to define it. They make a joke. They comment on the closeness. They break the spell by naming it. Lust thrives in what is felt, not what is labeled. Brian understands something important. Space is a conversation. He listens with his body instead of reacting with his ego. The result is that Sophia feels free to stay close rather than needing to protect herself. As men get older, this signal becomes clearer and more important. Words become cautious. Actions become refined. Bodies still move honestly. If you cannot read proximity, you will miss desire even when it is right in front of you. So, remember this, my friend. When she moves into your space and stays there, lust is already present. Your job is not to advance it. Your job is to be steady enough to let it deepen. If you have felt this moment before, write this in the comments. I felt the shift. Don't go anywhere, because the final piece shows how awareness turns all of these signals into quiet power instead of confusion. Number 10. Awareness turns lust into power. Folks, this is where everything comes together. Every signal we talked about was never meant to push you into action. It was meant to wake you up. Awareness is the difference between chasing moments and letting moments move toward you. Lust by itself is just energy. Awareness turns that energy into control. Most men think power in attraction comes from doing more, saying more, escalating faster. That mindset is exactly why they miss what is already happening. When you rush, you step out of awareness and into impulse. Impulse hands control away. Awareness takes it back. Let's be real for a moment. None of these signals matter if you panic when you notice them. Eye contact, proximity, touch, voice. They only work when you can stay grounded while they are happening. The man who sees clearly but cannot regulate himself still loses the moment. Stoicism speaks directly to this. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Lust is an outside event. Your response is internal. When you master that response, attraction stops controlling you and starts responding to you. Awareness is not passive. It is active restraint. It is the calm nervous system. It is the ability to feel tension without needing to discharge it. That is what women sense as maturity. Not age, not status, regulation. When you are aware, you stop asking the wrong questions. You stop wondering if she is interested. You start observing how interest expresses itself. That shift alone changes how you move, how you speak, how you hold silence. Most men confuse awareness with hesitation. They think not acting immediately is weakness. It is the opposite. The man who can wait while remaining present has options. The man who rushes is already trapped by the outcome. Awareness also protects you. It keeps you from misreading friendliness as lust. It keeps you from overstepping when signals are incomplete. It keeps you from investing emotionally where nothing is actually being offered. Clarity cuts both ways. When lust is present and you are aware, something interesting happens. You stop trying to create tension. Tension exists on its own. You simply do not destroy it. That is power. This is why older men who understand this feel different. They are not louder. They are not sharper. They are calmer. Calm does not dull desire. Calm gives desire a place to stay. Seneca warned that the greatest obstacle to living is expectation. Expectation ruins attraction too. When you expect a result, you stop seeing the moment. Awareness brings you back to what is real, instead of what you hope for. Awareness also changes your identity. You stop being the man who wonders what went wrong later. You become the man who understands what is happening now. That confidence is quiet. It does not need validation. So understand this clearly, my friend. Lust does not need to be chased. It needs to be recognized. When you recognize it without grabbing, without fear, without ego, it naturally organizes itself around you. That is the real shift. Awareness does not make you aggressive. It makes you centered. And centered men do not need to pursue attraction. Attraction finds its way to them. Folks, today we broke down how women show lust without saying a word. You learned how the body speaks first, how signals appear through eyes, distance, touch, voice and movement, and why awareness is what turns confusion into clarity. This is not about guessing or chasing. It's about seeing what's already there and staying grounded enough not to ruin it. If you want to take this deeper and train this level of awareness consistently, consider joining the channel membership. Inside, we work on stoic presence, emotional control, and real-world situations men face but rarely understand. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for watching, my friend. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow.